Hey guys, today I want to talk about consistency because a lot of you seem to be struggling with consistency, whether in the matches, in practice, or all the time. And I want to give you guys three key tips that are going to make it a little more clear in certain areas on what you need to be doing and maybe where you're going wrong. But the three tips that I'm going to give you today are going to guide you in the right direction, are going to help you eliminate mistakes that are just bad decisions, and it's going to help to build your confidence on court. So the first one I want to talk about is court positioning. How are you guys positioning yourself on the court? And I'm going to show you in a little bit some of the most common mistakes that I see. It is key for us to position ourselves well in the court, because if not, we're going to be maybe we're going to be getting too close to the ball. Maybe we're going to be letting all the balls drop. Maybe we're just going to be getting jammed for no reason. And a lot of that has to do with court positioning, losing the timing, and not being able to hit the ball in front consistently. A lot of that has to do with court positioning. There's other things, but this is important. So what I like to tell my students usually is to make sure from the baseline we are at least one big step behind the baseline. One big step, so around this area. And of course, that depends on your playing style. If you're more of an aggressive player, you do want to tend to, that wants to move up and want to be aggressive. Of course, you do want to move up. And if you're a little bit more of a defensive, maybe if you're more of a counter puncher, it's okay to stand a little bit more back. What I don't like to see it is when I see a player standing super far back, but then that's causing them to reach. They don't move up to those shorter balls, and then they're constantly reaching for these balls and making mistakes. Okay, so I really like a good center, so that we can reset our positioning and that way be ready for any ball that comes. I like a good medium here of having the one step, or could be two steps. So, but I don't want you too far back where if you're not quick enough to move up, you're constantly reaching to those short balls and making those mistakes. So that's why court positioning is really important. The other one that really hurts players is when they want to be aggressive, but they're constantly standing on top of the line. So you're here, constantly on top of the line, and what happens is that because the balls always have the from our opponent, always they're different, everything is different. So they could have a ball where they hit maybe flatter and it goes through the court, or maybe they hit a shot heavier with spin, or higher or lower. Whatever happens, when we are on top of the baseline, we do not have enough time to react to those variations. So we do not want to be caught all the time recovering on top of the baseline. So then we're gonna end up doing mistakes like this. We're gonna end up shots that we're supposed to be hitting comfortably. We end up just missing them or just giving them an easy ball because we're too close to the baseline. We can be on the baseline whenever we hit an amazing shot to the corner. We already know we're gonna move up to the next shot. So yeah, we can be here and ready to move up, but we do not want to be there all the time. That cannot be our reset position, because anytime the ball comes to our feet, anytime there's variation, we just don't have enough time, and that's going to cause you to make a lot more mistakes. So make sure your core positioning is good. That way you reduce those mistakes. Now, actually, a good tool that you guys can use to watch where your positioning is on court is Swing Vision. That's what I use for my students. And that way you guys can see where you're standing on the court. Every time you recover, you can see if it changes from the beginning of the match to the end of the match, or the first set or the second set. And you can work on it more as you see it, where you're standing, because when we're playing, sometimes we don't realize that we are back on the fence the entire match, or that we're standing on top of the baseline. So that's really important to see where our reset position is, so that we can fix it. So Swing Vision is an app, and you can download it, and then you get a free swing stick, which looks like this, which is what you record yourself with. You put your phone here, you open it up like this, and then you mount it on the fence like this, up on the fence, and then it records you, and then it gives you that live feedback, and then it gives you analytics afterwards. You literally can watch everything and where you're standing on the court, which is key for your consistency. Now, the second tip is shot selection. And that causes a lot of mistakes, and I see a lot of players hitting the ball well in the rally, and literally sometimes in rallies in practice make like 40-50 shots with no problem, but then when the match comes I see them making so many bad decisions that it causes them to be a very inconsistent player. So what am I talking about? I'm gonna give you a few examples. Number one, if I get a shot that's really out wide over there, and instead of going cross with good margin over the net to make sure that it's high percentage, because I'm getting there and I'm maybe not in the best position, because let's face it, we cannot all get there like Djokovic sometimes with their legs in amazing position all the way there to hit a down the line shot. That's tough. So I see a lot of you getting there, and this happens to every player, getting there in a sort of in a bad position and then trying to go down the line. We really can't go down the line on that shot if you're not in good position. And again, if you go down the line and you make 1 out of 10 shots, that's not very consistent. That's not gonna help you win matches. So that's not very repeatable. So we do want to kind of, in our brain, already know that anytime you're on the run and the ball is uncomfortable, we already know we're going cross, we're getting here, recovering, but we're playing with good height over the net. We're trying to get that ball deep cross and then give ourselves a chance in that point to still win it. But if we make the bad decision of being in a bad position and going down the line because either we're tired or because we think we can make this amazing shot, again, that's not going to be very high percentage, and it's going to cause us to lose a lot of points, and all of those mistakes add up and end up making you lose matches. Another example would be if I'm pulled back, if I'm standing here in my position and I'm pushed back because maybe the ball came higher or spinnier and I'm having to move back to hit that shot good, and I see a lot of players sort of trying to hit like an angle from back here and hitting a flat shot to the corner over there and trying to be super aggressive from back here. And then they end up making a lot of mistakes because you're so far back from the court, and so the court becomes farther. So you do need to play higher. You need to play high percentage. It's going to be very difficult to hit a winner from here. But I do see a lot of players trying to be aggressive when they're pushed back. And that's something that already needs to be on your head, that when I'm being pushed back, I know that I need to play much higher over the net and I need to aim for depth and a big target, because I do not want to miss this shot. This is a reset shot. This is not a shot for you to attack. This is sort of a shot that you need to hit good enough to get back in the point, to reset the point, to neutralize my opponent. So it's not a winner, but I do want my opponent to be uncomfortable enough so that way I can come back to my center and then look for opportunity to be aggressive on the next ball. But again, anytime you're thinking, you don't even have to think, it should become natural where I'm a little push back, I already know I'm hitting deep. I'm hitting deep with a big target, high over the net. That way I can start my point and then have a chance. That's gonna, again, reduce a ton of mistakes. When we eliminate those bad decisions, those shot selection, then you guys can be a lot more consistent and win more points. Now, the last one is the height of your shot, the trajectory of your ball. That is the last tip for consistency. How's your ball's trajectory? Is it going low over the net and flat? Because I do see that quite a lot, and it's very difficult to repeat and to be consistent when the shot is going super flat over the net and low. We do want to have a little bit of height over the net, and we do want our trajectory to have a little bit of a loop. Okay, no matter how aggressive you want to be, if you're on your reset position and you're rallying and you're setting up the point, you do want to have some height and you do want to have some spin on the ball, meaning you're always getting under the ball and the ball's having a little bit of a loop. Okay, even the women, I know, seems like it's always really low, but they're still getting under, and the ball has some rotation. That's why they are able to keep it in the court. Otherwise it would fly out every time. What we don't want is to be hitting all the time from up to down, where some of them are going in, but that ball is going so flat and low over the net that maybe, and what I see a lot is 1, 2, 3, and then you usually after 3 end up missing because the shots get flatter and lower. Okay, so we want to focus on the height, having enough height in our shot. Okay, so we have we clear the net by, quite a bit. And then we always have that little bit of a loop. That way we know the ball is always landing and not flying. And again, after you practice this, I do recommend you to watch yourself after to see if you're improving, or you're gonna see things that you don't expect to see, that you're like, oh yeah, I am actually doing that. And a good tool to see that, because it gives you everything, is the swing vision, because you can see as you're hitting live in the point, you're gonna see on the top right corner how much spin you hit on that backhand in that moment, how much speed it had, like how fast it was, where it landed on the court. You're gonna see a dot on the other side of where it landed. See your court positioning, and that's just live. And then after, you're gonna see all the statistics. So it's really helpful for you to know, am I improving? Where exactly am I going wrong? Am I doing this or am I not doing this? Because you may think like, oh no, I think that I have pretty good decisions or whatever, and then you end up watching it and you're surprised, because that happens a lot, and that's happened to me plenty of times. So yeah, if you guys want to get that, download the app, and also with your pro subscription you get a free swing stick, one that looks like this, where this is what you record yourself with, and this is worth $100, and you get it for free with your pro subscription. So it's really cool, and you can go ahead on your own, even if you're gonna go with the ball machine or with a partner, and you can mount it on the fence and watch yourself anytime.